Bao Island Storyteller, Journey to the West. Hey kids, welcome to Bao Island. On Bao Island, every story has a taste. Today's taste is charcoal grilled one-bite sausages by painted harbor walls. This episode, we're at Keelung's Zhengbin Fishing Harbor. Today's story, The Dragon King Gambles.
Welcome back to the Bao Island bus. We're still in Keelung, but today we've driven to the coast, specifically to Zhengbin Fishing Harbor, one of the most photographed places on the whole northeast coast of Taiwan. The reason is the houses. In 2016, the local fishing community painted the houses along the harbor wall in bold, brilliant colors, every building a different shade. Yellow, turquoise, coral, deep blue, emerald green, bright orange. They line the harbor like a row of building blocks, reflected in the water below.
Looking around, this is unbelievably pretty. Real fishermen's houses that people actually live in, painted in colors like a painting. Fishing boats tied up right below. Nets drying on the docks.
The harbor has been here for generations, working fishing boats going out before dawn, returning in the afternoon. The colors came later, as a way to attract visitors and bring business to the community. It worked.
The most practical art project.
Next to the harbor is the National Museum of Marine Science and Technology, one of the biggest ocean science museums in Asia. The building is shaped to suggest waves. Inside you can see deep-sea creatures, coral reef ecosystems, shipwreck archaeology.
A colorful harbor and an ocean museum. Today feels like being at the edge of the world.
Quietly, which is fitting. Because today's story is about what happens when you make a bet with fate and lose. There's something drifting off this harbor, charcoal smoke and caramelized pork fat rising above the nets and the painted walls, a smell that belongs entirely to this coastline at this hour.
Excited, what is it? Tell me.
Take a guess.
Mouth full, let me take a bite first. Excitedly, one bite sausage. Keelung Harbor side, fresh off the cart.
These are very small.
That's the whole point. They're tiny Taiwanese pork sausages, maybe 3 centimeters long, grilled on a charcoal skewer until the skin gets tight and blistered and slightly caramelized. One whole sausage, one whole bite. The flavor is concentrated, sweet, savory, faintly smoky, a little garlic. Because they're small, all the juices stay inside. When you bite through, there's this little burst of hot juice that tastes like everything that makes a good sausage, just concentrated into a tiny package.
One bite, full flavor.
Exactly. And they usually serve them with a tiny cube of raw garlic on the side. You eat the garlic with the sausage and the contrast of the sweet cooked meat and the sharp raw garlic is perfect. One bite sausage is proof that good food doesn't have to be big.
Eating one, that is surprisingly good.
Laughing, surprisingly, Captain, every time.
Shall we start the new story?
Yes, please.
We've now reached the second great arc of Journey to the West. We've finished the story of the monkey born, trained, went to heaven, caused chaos, sealed under a mountain. Now we move to the other half of how the journey begins, the human world, the Tang Empire, and the emperor who will send Tang Monk west.
Emperor Taizong?
Emperor Taizong of Tang, one of the most celebrated rulers in all of Chinese history. In real life, he reigned from 626 to 649 CE and is remembered for creating one of the most prosperous and open eras in Chinese history. In Journey to the West, he plays a very different role.
What kind of role?
The kind where you make a confident bet, lose badly, and the consequences change the whole course of history.
Laughing, even famous emperors make bad bets?
Especially famous emperors. They're used to being right. In the capital of Chang'an, Emperor Taizong enjoyed the company of a fortune teller, a man named Yuan Shoucheng, considered the most accurate diviner in the empire. One day, walking near the canal that runs through the city, the emperor encountered a fisherman. The fisherman complained, "Your Majesty, I fish the same stretch of canal every day. Lately, nothing. The fish have stopped coming."
Why?
The fisherman went to Yuan Shoucheng the fortune teller for advice. Yuan Shoucheng told him, "Go back to this specific spot, at this specific time, and you will catch 100 fish. I guarantee it."
And did it work?
It worked exactly as predicted. The fisherman caught 100 fish. Word spread. Yuan Shoucheng's reputation became even greater. And a very interested person heard about this, the Dragon King of the Jing River.
The Dragon King is listening to what some fortune teller said?
Because the Dragon King controls the rain in this region. He controls whether water flows and when. If a fortune teller can correctly predict where fish will gather, which depends on water temperature and current, which depends on rain, that's a fortune teller who can predict what the Dragon King himself will do.
He felt threatened by an accurate prediction.
The Dragon King, in human disguise, went to find Yuan Shoucheng. He walked into his divination shop and said, You think you know about rain?" Yuan Shoucheng looked at him calmly and said, "Tomorrow, rain will fall on the city of Chang'an at precisely the hour of the goat. It will be 3 feet and 4 inches deep."
He predicted the rain to the exact measurement?
The Dragon King laughed. He said, "Rain comes from heaven. I know everything about rain. You don't know what you're talking about." Yuan Shoucheng just looked at him and said, "Then let's make a bet."
What did they bet?
Yuan Shoucheng said, "If I'm right about tomorrow's rain, you owe me an apology and a consultation fee. If I'm wrong, I'll close my shop and never divine again."
The fortune teller was very confident.
The Dragon King was even more confident. He thought, "I control the rain. I'll simply not let it rain tomorrow, or I'll change the amount, and this presumptuous fortune teller will be humiliated." He went back to his palace under the river, fully intending to cheat.
He was going to change the weather on purpose just to win a bet.
The problem was, that night, a heavenly messenger arrived in the Dragon King's palace carrying the day's official rain order from the Jade Emperor. The decree read, "Tomorrow, rain shall fall on Chang'an at the hour of the goat. Amount, 3 feet and 4 inches.
Slowly, the exact amount the fortune teller predicted.
The exact same. The fortune teller hadn't guessed, he'd read the heavenly schedule.
So if the Dragon King changes the rain, he's breaking heaven's official order.
Which is a very serious crime. The Dragon King stood there looking at the heavenly decree and the bet he'd already made, and made the worst decision of his life. He changed the time of the rain. And he reduced the amount to only 3 feet and 3 inches.
He cheated by 1 inch?
1 inch in one-time increment. Just enough to win his petty bet with a fortune teller.
But he broke a heavenly decree.
Heaven noticed immediately. The report went up, the Jing River Dragon King had violated official orders. He had changed the timing and quantity of rain assigned by the celestial authorities without permission. The Jade Emperor issued a judgment. The Jing River Dragon King was to be executed.
Executed for 1 inch of rain?
For disobeying heaven. The amount didn't matter. The defiance did.
Who was going to execute him?
Here's where Emperor Taizong enters the story. The Dragon King, now terrified, came to the emperor in a dream. He appeared as a headless body, kneeling before the emperor's bed, weeping and begging, "Your Majesty, you must help me. I am the Dragon King of the Jing River. I am to be executed tomorrow by your chief minister, Wei Zhang. Please, keep Wei Zhang away from his duties tomorrow. Keep him occupied. Distract him. If he cannot perform the execution in the spirit world, I can be saved."
Quietly, the emperor was asked to obstruct an execution in a dream.
He woke up shaken. And the next morning, he thought about it. And decided to help.
While we walk along the harbor, look at the buildings from water level. At this angle, the colors reflect perfectly in the still water. Blue above, blue below.
It's so vivid. Each building is a different color, but they all work together. How did they decide which color goes where?
There was a committee. They wanted variety but also harmony. The key rule was, no two adjacent buildings can be the same color.
That's actually a very old principle in design. Contrast between neighbors makes both more visible. If everything is the same, nothing stands out.
Like a story with too many characters all doing the same thing. You lose track of who matters.
Journey to the West has dozens of characters, but the Dragon King, the Emperor, Wei Zhang, the Fortune Teller, the Tang Monk, they each play a different color in the scene. No two of them do the same thing. That's why you can follow it.
Looking at the harbor, I want to come back here at sunset. The colors must be incredible.
They are. This harbor has become one of the most photographed spots on the northeast coast.
The morning after the dream, Emperor Taizong invited Wei Zhang, his most trusted minister, a man famous for being completely incorruptible and impossible to distract, for a game of chess.
Chess? He was going to keep him busy with chess?
He needed to keep Wei Zhang occupied at the exact hour the execution was scheduled. He thought, a chess game can take hours. They sat down. Wei Zhang played with great focus. The hours passed. The emperor kept prolonging the game, suggesting another match, offering tea, commenting on the moves at length.
Did it work?
Around the middle of the day, Wei Zhang's head suddenly dropped. His eyes closed. He appeared to have fallen asleep in the middle of the chess game.
He fell asleep playing chess?
He fell asleep for exactly 15 minutes. The emperor watched, confused. Then Wei Zhang's eyes opened again. He bowed to the emperor, deeply embarrassed, and said, "Your Majesty, I must apologize. I just performed an execution in a dream."
Slowly, in a dream.
Wei Zhang was not an ordinary minister. He was also a celestial official in a different capacity, one of heaven's designated executioners. His soul had traveled to the spirit world in those 15 minutes and carried out the sentence on the Jing River Dragon King.
Even while playing chess. Even with the emperor sitting right there trying to stop it.
The emperor had looked right at it happening and couldn't do a thing.
The museum cafe has bubble ice. Let's take a break inside.
Excitedly, second bubble ice of the Keelung visit. I regret nothing.
The museum itself is extraordinary. There's a deep sea section with models of creatures from below 2,000 meters. Things that look like they came from a different world. Transparent fish. Bioluminescent jellyfish. Creatures with organs we don't have names for yet.
It's a little like the spirit world in Journey to the West. There are entire levels of existence that most people never see or think about. And things happening at those levels that affect everything above.
The Dragon King lived in his underwater palace, invisible to everyone above, making decisions that affected the rain, the harvest, the fish and the rivers. And his one bad decision set off a chain of events that ended with an emperor dying.
Slurping ice. Wait, the emperor dies?
Briefly.
Alarmed. Briefly?
That night, the Dragon King's ghost came back to Emperor Taizong in another dream. This time he was furious. His head was in his hands, literally, his severed head in his hands. He shouted, "You promised to protect me. You failed. Wei Zhang executed me anyway. You are responsible for my death. Blood for blood." He reached out and grabbed the emperor.
Sharply, the ghost is accusing the emperor?
The emperor woke up screaming. From that night, he could not sleep. Whenever he closed his eyes, he saw the Dragon King's ghost. The ghost brought friends, other aggrieved spirits, old enemies from the battles of the founding of the empire, soldiers who had died in conquest. Night after night. No sleep, no rest.
The guilt took form.
Within weeks, the emperor was gravely ill. The palace physicians couldn't help him. What he had was not a physical illness. It was a haunting.
Quietly, he had tried to obstruct justice. And the ghost of the unjust outcome came for him.
Wei Zhang came to the emperor and said something unusual. "Your Majesty, I know two officials in the underworld. The King of Hell himself is an old friend of mine. Let me write a letter. I believe your appointed time of death is not yet due. If I write to my friends in the underworld, they may be able to confirm this and release you."
Wei Zhang has friends in the underworld?
Wei Zhang had friends everywhere. He wrote the letter, sealed it, placed it in the emperor's hand, and the emperor died.
Horrified, he died?
For a short time, perhaps half a day, perhaps a day, Emperor Taizong's soul descended to the underworld. His body lay cold in the palace. His ministers wept. His generals couldn't believe it.
What happened to him there?
The underworld is exactly as described in Chinese folk belief, a bureaucracy. There are 10 courts, each presided over by a king of hell who judges different categories of sins. Souls line up, their lives are reviewed, judgments are made. When Taizong arrived, the judge holding his book of life looked and looked again. He checked twice. Then he said, "Your Majesty, there appears to be an error. You are listed here, but the date recorded for your death has an extra 20 years written in. Someone has added 20 years to your entry."
Excitedly, someone extended his life?
Wei Zhang's letter had arrived ahead of him. His underworld friends had quietly extended the emperor's recorded lifespan by 20 years. "Nothing to worry about, Your Majesty. You need to return. You're not actually supposed to be here yet."
Laughing, his minister had already fixed it before he even arrived.
The underworld officials escorted him out. His soul traveled back up. The palace physicians who had been standing vigil over his cold body nearly fainted when he gasped and sat up.
He came back to life.
And he had seen things down there that changed him.
What did he see?
In the underworld, Emperor Taizong saw the souls of people who had not been sent on. Thousands of souls wandering in a kind of gray in-between place, not judged, not at rest, just drifting. The guide explained, "These are souls for whom no proper memorial has been performed. Their families haven't done the ceremonies, said the prayers, offered the food. They're stuck."
Quietly, they were waiting for someone to remember them.
Emperor Taizong was moved deeply. He asked, "What can be done for them?" The guide said, "Scriptures. If a great Dharma ceremony is held in the world above, with proper readings of the Buddhist scriptures, the merit generated can release these souls and give them peace."
Slowly, and the scriptures that exist are in the West. With the Buddha.
And someone would need to travel and bring them back. The emperor returned to life with a purpose he hadn't had when he left. He would sponsor a great Dharma ceremony. He would find a monk capable of traveling west to retrieve the full scriptures. He would do this for the souls he'd seen waiting.
He didn't know that Guanyin had already chosen the monk.
He was about to find out.
Before we head back, let's stand at the harbor wall for a moment. The sun is getting low and the fishing boats are coming in.
Quietly, I love watching fishing boats come in at the end of the day. There's something so satisfying about it. They went out. They came back. Whatever happened out there, they made it back.
The emperor went down. He came back. The Dragon King went too far and didn't. The difference between those two outcomes is very small. One person had friends who could intercede. The other had burned all his bridges with 1 inch of rain.
1 inch.
One small choice that seemed safe at the time. Change the rain a tiny bit, win the bet, nobody gets hurt. But it was the defiance, the refusal to accept the decree, that mattered. Not the amount.
Slowly, it's not about the size of the wrong. It's about whether you thought you could get away with it.
The sea doesn't care how big the wave is. It cares whether the boat was built to handle it.
Pause, Captain. That was genuinely wise.
I've had a lot of time to think on this trip.
So here's where we are. Sun Wukong under the mountain, waiting. Tang Monk chosen, ready. Emperor Taizong back from the dead, with a mission to send a monk west. Guanyin has already arranged the helpers, already visited the mountain. Everything is in place. The journey is about to begin. In the next few episodes, the Tang Monk leaves Chang'an, travels to the mountain, frees the monkey, and the partnership that drives the next 80+ chapters begins.
I cannot wait. The actual journey starts.
The actual journey starts.
After 10 episodes of setup.
Journey to the West takes its time. It believes that if you understand where everything comes from, you appreciate the journey more.
Like Keelung. You have to know it rains 200 days a year here. You have to understand the fishing history, the harbor, the geology. Then the colorful houses make sense. Then the bubble ice makes sense. Then the tempura makes sense.
Everything has a story that makes it what it is.
Time to wrap up. The colorful houses of Zhengbin are getting their best light right now, warm evening sun on those bright walls, everything doubled in the harbor water.
Today we were back in Keelung on the coast, Zhengbin Fishing Harbor with its painted houses, and the National Museum of Marine Science. We ate tiny one-bite sausages that burst with flavor, and a second bowl of bubble ice because Keelung demands it. And we watched a new story begin. A proud Dragon King who changed 1 inch of rain to win a petty bet, broke heaven's decree, was executed by a minister who fell asleep for 15 minutes during a chess game, and came back as a ghost to haunt the emperor who tried to help him. The emperor died, visited the underworld, had his lifespan extended by his minister's connections, came back to life, and now knows exactly why he needs to send someone west for the scriptures.
The whole journey begins because one dragon couldn't accept losing a bet.
Cause and effect can take very strange shapes.
What's next?
Next time, we leave Keelung and head south to Ilan. We'll visit the famous Dongshan River, eat scallion pancake and a bowl of elan noodles. And we follow Emperor Taizong as he organizes the great Dharma ceremony, chooses the monk officially, and the Tang Monk sets out from Chang'an on the most important journey in Chinese literature. The gates of the city close behind him. The road stretches west. And somewhere far away, under a mountain, a monkey is about to hear footsteps approaching.
Excitedly, the journey actually starts next time.
The journey actually starts next time. Softly, the fishing boats are home, the painted walls are glowing, and somewhere a monk is about to hear his name called for the longest walk of his life. On Bao Island, stories grow up with you.